think every Friday should be International Beer Day.
It's hard to disagree with that.
We've got 5 beer stories on tap at Granite City in Lincoln because, well, today is International Beer Day.
This is Friday 5, brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Starting off the countdown at number 5, what ingredients do you even need to make beer? We came here to find out.
There's 4 main ingredients in beer: water,
a starch source like wheat, rye, or malted barley,
a brewer's yeast to produce the fermentation,
and a little bit of flavoring like hops.
So now you know the ingredients. You're probably wondering, how is this beer made?
Malting is the first step, and it begins with a cereal grain. The grain germinates as if it were going to grow, and then at the right time, germination is stopped and the grains are dried and roasted.
Once the grains are malted, it goes through a process called mashing, which makes the grain break down and release sugar. Mashing leaves a sweet syrup liquid called wort.
Hops and other spices are added to the wort, and then the liquid goes into a fermenting vessel where yeast is added.
Once the brewmaster has determined the beer has fermented, it's time to bottle it up for me and for you too.
Number 3, let's break down some beer vocabulary.
There are 2 main categories of beer: ales and lager.
Lagers like Coors Light and Bud Light are made with yeast that ferments at the bottom of the beer, and ales like IPAs are made with yeast that ferments at the top.
IBU stands for the International Bitterness Unit. It measures the levels of the hops bitterness on a scale from 1 to 100. The higher the number, the more bitter the beer.
Number 2, beer drinking supports our nation's farmers.
In the United States, 149 million bushels of corn, or about 1%, is used for alcohol and other beverages annually.
About 3/4 of barley production and roughly half of the rye per grain is used for distilling and food uses.
USA Hops says Nebraska is home to about 44 acres of the crop. Last year, over 55,000 acres were harvested across the nation.
And finally, number 1, Nebraska is no stranger to the beer industry.
According to the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild, there are 50 brewers across the state, reaching from Scottsbluff to Omaha.
The oldest brewery in Nebraska is Empyrean Brewing, and it started back in 1990, followed shortly by Upstream Brewing and Thunderhead Brewing Company.
Empyrean also became the first Nebraska craft brewery to bottle beer back in 1999. Then they were the first to distribute beer in 2002.
That bottles up this beer edition of Friday 5, of course brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Celebrate responsibly and have a great weekend.
This is Mike. Mike likes his car. Mike likes to save money. And Mike likes to breathe. So Mike fills up with E15 with 15% American ethanol. The clean octane in E15 gives Mike the performance he wants from his engine and the clean air he wants for his family. Better yet, E15 costs less at the pump. Higher octane, cleaner air, lower cost. E15 sure gives Mike a lot to like. Discover E15 with American ethanol.